to have you join me on the Global News Update on Equa Television International. It's time now to look at stories making headlines across the globe. Witnesses narrate turmoil, blame police for Indonesian stadium killings. Police in Haiti used tear gas as thousands march in Port-au-Prince. Corpses of Russian forces piled in town recaptured by Ukraine. The president of Ethiopia launched new archaeological exhibition, and Burkina Faso coup leader says vote still expected by 2024. Witnesses to the Indonesian football stadium disaster, which killed not more than 125 people and left hundreds injured, have accused police of firing tear gas into spectator stands and blocking gates as people try to flee the turmoil. One of the fatal sporting strategies occurred on Saturday evening at the Kanjuruhan football stadium in Indonesia's East Java province, where witnesses told of violence between fans and police, deaths of spectators, and how they had managed to survive. 2 law enforcement officers and at least 17 children were among those killed when terrified supporters escaping clouds of police tear gas stampede towards the stadium's exit, leading to people being crushed to death and suffocating in the crash. Futria Ramawati said police were 100% to blame, who attended the march in Malang City with her husband and children. The gas was not just aimed at those who entered the pitch, but also spectators in the stands, she said. Her allegations were backed by other witnesses and by a video clip from the football stadium that appeared to flow flashes in the upper grandstand, followed by white clouds of gas. It was horrifying, Ramawati said, telling of how she saw police and soldiers hit men and women with batons until their bones broke, and how she had witnessed spectators attacking the police and also attack other spectators who tried to stop the violence. I have 2 kids with me, so unfortunately I had to summon other people to get out, she said. Haitian police have fired tear gas as thousands of people marching in the streets of the capital, Port-au-Prince, to protest against the government's handling of paralyzing fuel shortages and rising prices. On Monday, footage showed a man being carried on a stretcher after suffering a leg injury. Police also fired guns into the air to scatter the crowds. Haiti is undergoing a worsening public health and safety crisis as gangs have reacted to road blockades in and around Port-au-Prince in anger over fuel price hikes. The blockades have cut off residents and medical facilities from access to clean water and gas. Gang violence has worsened in the poorest country in the Americas since the assassination of President Jovenel Moïse in July last year, which plunged Haiti into deeper political instability. Monday's protest took place on the day schools were meant to reopen after the country's economic woes caused a 1-month postponement of the resumption of classes following the summer break. If the Prime Minister solves insecurity and hunger, if he can solve the gang problems in the country and manage the crisis, there will be no problem in restarting classes, a protester who identified himself as William said, according to reports. If he has no answers to these questions, he must leave power and hand it to the right person. The latest protest came a day after health authorities said at least 7 people had died of cholera. The deaths indicated the problems Haitians have with access to clean water. An outbreak of the disease killed about 10,000 people in 2010. Last week, a local rights group said the road blockades had cut off communities north of the capital from clean drinking water and other essential supplies for days. Hospitals also warned they will have to reduce staffing and services due to a lack of fuel. Now, the bodies of Russian soldiers are piled up in the streets of a major eastern Ukrainian town following their comrades' retreat that marked the latest defeat of Moscow. The Ukrainian military collected the bodies of their comrades on Tuesday after fierce battle for control of Liman, a key logistics and transport hub, but did not immediately remove those of the Russians, according to reports. As Russia moved forward with annexing 4 Ukrainian regions, its troops pulled back from Liman on Saturday to avoid being encircled by the Ukrainian forces. The city's liberation gave Ukraine a key vantage point for pressing its offensive deeper into Russian-held territories. Liman residents emerged from the basements where they hid during the battle for the town and built fires of cooking. The town has had no water, electricity, or gas since May. We fight for our land, for our children, so that our people can live better, but all this comes at a very high price, said a Ukrainian soldier. In Africa, a new permanent exhibition of Ethiopia's archaeological history was officially inaugurated at the National Museum in Addis Ababa by President Salwa Zewde on Friday. As one of the oldest countries in Africa, the country's civilization dates back over thousands of years. People flock to be the first to see some of the extraordinary artifacts on display, many of which have never been seen in public. It was to better present the rich cultural material of antiquity in northern Ethiopia mainly, and at the same time, it is also to display so many new beautiful objects from the medieval time, which was a bit unknown by the public, said Anne-Lise Goujon, project manager of the French Institute for Ethiopian Studies. The exhibition was organized by the Ethiopian Heritage Authority in collaboration with the French Embassy in Addis Ababa as the two countries marked 125 years of diplomatic relations. The collections that are presented here are going from what we call pre-Exumite time, so the first millennium BC until the 16th century, and from the medieval period, said French archaeologist and co-creator of the exhibition, Lucille Denisot. The new exhibition adds to collections at Ethiopia's National Museum, which are seen by many as some of the most important in sub-Saharan Africa. It also displays art ranging from early 14th century parchments to paintings by leading modern artists. For Ethiopian archaeologist Solomon Kabede, the archaeological exhibit presents a unique opportunity for the country. The pride of Ethiopians, the incredible carvings, beautiful sculptures, coins, and other artifacts are a further statement to the country's rich history. And finally, Burkina Faso's new junta leader said Monday that the West African nation will still aim to hold an election by 2024 or even earlier. The power grab by Captain Ibrahim Traoré is the newest setback for the regional bloc known as ECOWAS, which has tried to steer 3 of its 15 countries back toward democracy after a spate of coups in West Africa over the last 2 years. Burkina Faso's latest coup announced Friday on state television has raised fears that the country's political chaos could produce more violence from the region's Islamic extremists. ECOWAS had reached an agreement with ousted leader Lieutenant Colonel Paul-Henri Sandaogo Damiba to hold a new vote by July 2024. Damiba, who himself had seized power in a coup last year, agreed to resign Sunday and left for the neighboring nation of Togo. In an interview with Radio France International that aired Monday, Traoré said the goal of an election by July 2024 is still possible. We hope that the return to normal constitutional order will take place even before that date if the situation allows it, according to reports. A visit from an ECOWAS delegation was postponed from Monday to Tuesday, according to reports. Burkina Faso's last democratically elected president was overthrown by Damiba in January amid frustrations that his government had not been able to stop extremist attacks. However, the jihadi violence, which has killed thousands and forced 2 million to flee their homes, continued and has now brought to an end to Damiba's tenure too. The new leader told, according to reports, said the weekend that conditions remained poor for soldiers in the field. Damiba had not done enough to improve that. In a video recorded after Damiba's resignation on Sunday, the ousted leader said the coup had left at least 2 people dead and 9 wounded. In view of the risk of division within our army and considering the higher interest of Burkina Faso, I have renounced my function as the head of state and president of the transition. In recent days, Traoré's followers have waved Russian flags and called for military support to help fight the jihadists, as neighboring Mali has done with Russia's Wagner Group. However, those Russian mercenary forces have been accused of human rights abuses, and some others fear their involvement in Burkina Faso will only make things worse. It remains to be seen whether Traoré and his forces can turn around the crisis as international condemnation of new coup amounts. Right now, we are going to take a break, and when we come back, it will be Zoom on Nigeria. Stay with us. Welcome back. It's Zoom on Nigeria. And Nigeria-Korea Business Forum begins tomorrow. The South Korean government has intensified moves to strengthen business relationship with Nigeria in key areas of economy. At a forum tagged the Nigerian-South Korea Business Forum with the theme Sustainable Business for Economic Development, the South Korean ambassador to Nigeria, In Tae-lee, said both countries have proven to the world that more can be done in other areas like shipbuilding, port development, rail construction, power and renewable energy, gas pipeline, and many more. It would like to point out another chapter of bilateral cooperation, educational, cultural, and e-government training exchanges that are crucial to development of relations between our countries, adding that Nigeria is the second largest trade country in Africa to South Korea and the biggest construction market on the continent. The Business Forum, organized by the Korean Trade Investment Promotion Agency KOTRA in Lagos, recently attracted both existing and potential South Korean firms willing to invest in Nigeria, including some Nigerian government agencies and members of the organized private sector. Statistics obtained from KOTRA in Lagos indicates that export volume to Nigeria from South Korea increased up to $540 million US dollars, which is 0.4% from January to August this year. From trade volume, export to Nigeria, import from Nigeria, and trade balance, the statistics shows a trade volume of $985,673 US dollars in 2016, over 2 million in 2017, over 1 million in 2018, and 984,874 US dollars, resulting in 16.2% growth. On export to Nigeria, it recorded 460,813 US dollars in 2016, over 2 million in 2017, and 917,850 US dollars in 2018, 621,000 in US dollars as at August 2019. Import from Nigeria to South Korea shows $438 in 2016, 438 in 2017, over 1 million in 2018, and 444,244 US dollars as at August this year, representing 30.4% growth. On trade balance, 2016 had 64, while 2017 was over 1 million US dollars. For 2018 and January to August 2019, it had $129,712 and $96,383 US dollars, respectively. The forum, which had notable federal government and state government agencies in attendance, also enjoyed participation from stakeholders in the organized private sector like Lagos Chambers of Commerce and Industry, LCCI, notable Korean companies like Samsung Heavy Industries, Daewoo, and Expression has made marks in oil, maritime, and fashion sectors. Expression, a company that produces female hair accessories, was said to have provided not less than 10,000 direct employments to youths in the country. Potential new investor Korean companies at the event include Ace Global Company, Furoha, a beauty manufacturing brand, Paylink, which deals in mobile money transactions, Samsung Construction, and Shinhan Bank, which is leading financial institution, ranked 67th out of top 500 banking brands. Others include Creative Hill, an IT services company that creates new value in agribusiness, blockchain technology, and Gyeongsang Book, a firm that partners Dangote in agriculture. Also speaking at the event, the Director Investment Promotion at Nigeria Investment Promotion Commission, NIPC, Adesina Emmanuel, listed the country's large population, sophisticated financial markets, improving business climate, strategic location, and generous investor protections as part of reasons to invest in the country. And lastly, Nigeria is still in search of nationhood at 62. Patriotism is essentially a conviction that a specific country is the best in the world because you were born in it. It is not too late for Nigeria to get it right at 62. In other words, Nigeria as a country is not finished, it's still salvageable. The reason successive regimes, by policies and actions, have tried to kill the meticulous compatriots amongst us to create way for buying the rest of us. Every nation determines her destiny and invariably her fate. A nation's life operates on the computing principles of garbage in and garbage out. In other words, whatever question you ask Google determines the answer you get. What garbage have Nigerians fed into the system called Nigeria since independence? What type of answer are they experiencing? Every October 1st since 1960, we try to review our progress as a nation and plan for the future. If we look at 62 years backwards, are we to cry or smile at lives as people of one nation, depending how it has been all these years? Welcome to the Independence Anniversary edition of Political Musings. The country has seen 30 months of brutal civil war that remains the sore side of its 62-year-old nationhood. Unfortunately, 52 years after the war, its still result is still deep because nothing tangible has been done intentionally to put the war behind us. All the indices that gave rise to an all-out war in 1967 still exist today, even in a more pronounced dimension. Some Nigerian experts at home and abroad are reviewing the political situation in the country and seem to agree that 2023 looks likely a year to officially end the civil war if an Igbo candidate wins the presidency of the country. The fears of many in Nigeria today is whether 2023 is going to offer such a massive opportunity to right our wrongs and position ourselves for growth and advancement. Already, Obi's entry has affected the entire political system. Unlike before, when Nigerians are caged into only two choices, the sign is there now that the choice is open to four top presidential candidates. Apart from Obi and his Labour Party, who has proved to be much desired third force in our political system, there are also the traditional election runners, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu of the ruling All Progressives Congress, APC, and Atiku Abubakar of the main People's Democratic Party, PDP, a Senator Rabiu Kwankwaso of the New Nigeria People's Party, NNPP. Last Saturday, October 1st, as President Muhammadu Buhari stands at Eagle Square to take his last independence anniversary salute as Nigeria's commander-in-chief, a lot will be going through his mind. What has his role been in the 62 years of Nigeria? He will be thinking of those actions and inactions of his that impacted this country positively or negatively. He will be looking at Nigeria he met in 2015 and the one he is leaving after 8 years in such privileged service position as President and CIC. Looking back at our not-so-rosy history in the past 62 years, does it seem realistic that a desirable change is visible? Could such a change be in 2023? To many Nigerians, if 2023 produces either Atiku Abubakar or Bola Tinubu, nothing will be said to have happened politically speaking, while both Tinubu and Atiku in various political calculations and considerations are like 6.5 dozen only wine in an old wise skin. As we mark the 62nd anniversary of our flag independence, let our supplication look up to heaven for a dramatic change in our political life as a nation, for a better and more prosperous country. Happy Independence Nigeria in arrears. And that's the news for this hour. Thanks for watching, everyone. I am Lois Chuaiki. Enjoy the rest of your day.